It's been a month since Kentucky voters rejected Amendment 2, a proposal that would have allowed lawmakers to use tax money to support students that are attending schools outside of the public school system. In an op-ed this week, Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman said that now is the time to get to work, arguing that schools have endured unnecessary cuts by the General Assembly to resources like textbooks and technology funding. GOP leaders have praised the education funding in the budget, a combined 9% increase to seek over the next 2 years that is largely funding teacher raises and capital improvement projects. However, both sides have expressed a need to improve the quality of education by and large. And with the amendment fight now put to rest, now the question is, what are the next steps? So, Senator Thomas, I want to start with you here. Your side got what you wanted. The amendment is now defeated. So now as we turn the page, we still have a lot of work to do in terms of improving some of the educational outcomes of Kentucky students. Where do we start the work?
Well, Bodie, thank you very much. It's good to see you again. And let's begin by saying, I think there are a lot of messages sent in the 2024 election. But as far as Kentucky concerned, one big message that was sent was Kentuckians love their public schools and they want to protect their public schools. So I think it's time for everybody in the legislature to understand that message loud and clear. Where we need to go is where Governor Beshear has been wanting to take us for the last 3 or 4 years. We need to have universal pre-K to begin with in our education. There are about 24 states that have it. We have neighboring states such as Indiana, such as West Virginia, such as Ohio, such as Missouri, that have some form of universal pre-K. You know, why is Kentucky always wanting to be a state that's left out? Study after study after study shows that kids who get in school at 4th grade have better learning outcomes, have better lifestyles, earn more money, are more productive for our society. So that's where we need to begin, by finally agreeing and working with Governor Beshear to implement universal pre-K here in Kentucky.
Senator Tichenor, I'll bring you in. Do you think universal pre-K would be one solution? If not, what would be a better approach to improving our education outcomes?
I don't think universal pre-K is going to be a solution to the lack of education that our students are getting right now. That's another huge battle that maybe will come in the future, but right now we need to secure a good education for our students in the state of Kentucky. And unfortunately, Kentucky, Senator Thomas, you mentioned, we are always left behind with universal pre-K. We are now left behind with school choice. We will remain one of 2 states in the nation that do not have some form of school choice, and that's really unfortunate. And there's a lot of, Monday morning quarterbacking we can do on that issue and why it failed. But really what we have to focus on as a state is how do we improve our education system. We poured money in, we gave record funding this year, fully funding transportation, all of the things that have been asked for we've given, and we have continually poured money into our system. And what we're seeing really is an administrative bloat that is really by and large growing at a number far greater than our teacher pay and even our student growth. So we need to start looking at some different things, but at the core of all of it is, are we educating students? Are students doing well? And unfortunately, we can see in our scores that's not the case.
Well, I'll be glad to respond to that. And while you hear those Republicans who talk about that there's a sufficient funding for students and for teachers, I just want to point out 2 quick points, Bodie. Number one, we are still about $1,000 per student behind in SEEK funding compared to where we were about 20 years ago, back to 2006. We should be at about $5,800, Bodie. We're about $4,800. So we're way behind still. Number 2, we didn't give teachers raises. What they say is that we gave more money to schools so they can give teachers raises.
Which they did.
Well, no, not all of them did.
Well, that was their choice.
Well, no. We have in the past, as a legislature, as recently as 2014, when the first Governor Beshear was in governor, funded teachers' raises at 2% and 3%. We can do that now. Why we don't give teachers raises, akin to what the 11% that Governor Beshear has said, I don't know why they didn't want to do it. Again, Governor Beshear, I think, and Lieutenant Governor Coleman, have the right idea about where we need to go to really improve our school system. There's just been a lot of resistance by Republican legislators.
Well, it's always about more money. And what we've seen in the past, we have Jefferson County Public Schools, the largest in the state, operates off of a $2 billion budget. There's never enough money. Right now, Fayette County is in the middle of an investigation. They fund students at $22,000, over $22,000 a student average for their education. That's the highest in the nation. Why isn't that enough? Where is the money going is what we need to look at. And I think, again, you will look at across the nation, huge growth in administrative bloat. And I'm really hopeful with our new president coming in that we'll see some changes in the Department of Education at the federal level and start seeing some of that administration shrink.
We have a little less than a minute left here, so as we kind of wrap things up on this topic, is there things besides money that the legislature can do to try and address some of these things in areas such as bringing in more quality teachers, reducing emergency certifications, or addressing truancy, for example?
Well, absolutely. All of those things. We did pass a truancy bill, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out as it's implemented. I think we really need to start looking at targeted learning. You know, you have unique situations. Every city, every county, every school district is different. The issues JCPS is dealing with is different than Trimble County that I represent. So really getting to the heart of, are we teaching phonics? We've just passed the Read to Succeed and made some adjustments there to bring that back in. But what can we do in the interim while that is reaching those younger kids? What do we do with the older kids? We have a lot of kids in our school system that struggle with dyslexia. Are we really targeting? Do we have solutions for them? We have a lot of students who are autistic. How are we targeting them? Do we have teachers who are qualified and know how to serve those students well? So I think there's going to be a lot of different creative maneuvers in the legislature. I hope to bring some things forward that might get some traction to target those special needs for students.
Senator Thomas, last word.
Bodie, unless we are willing to pay our teachers to teach, unless we're willing to put adequate resources into schools, you know, such as textbooks and technology, we're really just whistling in the wind in terms of providing quality education for our students.
All right, we'll see what happens whenever the legislature comes back next year.